You want more negativity?
Here we go.
I'll bring it. Don't you worry about that. Here, unwanted 5. We need a bit of alliteration to it. Forgotten 5. Anthony.
Dismiss 5.
Yeah.
All right. Nobody wants them. The manager doesn't want them. The club don't want them. Nobody else wants them.
I think.
Who wants you, Robo?
I think
We can dismiss all 5 of them.
That made me laugh.
it's the finished 5 at Man United. That's what it is.
So what's going to happen short term here? The United have got a pre-season tour when?
Couple of weeks in the US, they're back here for the Premier League trophy.
But none of these people will be on the plane?
They won't be on the plane. So United returned to training today, and last Friday United made it clear that these 5 players would not be expected back for pre-season training today. They are still being given the opportunity to train, so you have to make sure they're not contravening any kind of union PFA situations. They have to be allowed to train, but they're not training with the first team. They're not at Carrington. They've been told to have a few more days off.
Right.
And then when United are away on tour, they'll be able to train. The idea is that it's been made clear to the players, and apparently the players have made it clear to United that they don't want to stay, and vice versa. So United are using this time to enable the players to find a club. Now, it's going to be difficult because by doing what they've done, I think United have said to all the prospective interested clubs, we don't want these players, so they were worth that yesterday, but they're worth this today because we don't want them. So if you're a club that wants to sign Marcus Rashford, Antony, Alejandro Garnacho, you're not going to rush to do it now, are you? You're going to wait until the end of August when United are desperate. So on one hand, it's strong by United to say they're not part of the squad, Amorim doesn't want them, but on the other hand, it's kind of a little bit naive to basically damage their asking price.
You make all this, Robert. They're kind of been ostracising this, Robert. As all he says, basically, we don't want them, but we want you still to pay for them.
And it must be the manager who's saying it, because the manager doesn't want involved with the squad. He wants to make sure I'm working with these players and I don't want them messing up what I'm doing, and they're probably going to be sulking and all that sort of stuff. So the manager's doing that. But as Oggy says, it then takes away all their value, because any club coming in will say, well, you don't fancy them, you don't think they're very good, so how can you ask that sort of money? The problem that all those players will have is we're finding another club and being paid the right sort of wages. You know, Marcus Rashford, where's he going to get the money he's getting at Manchester United?
Yes.
Let's talk of Barcelona. If Barcelona have done their homework over the last 2 years, you wouldn't touch Marcus Rashford with a barge pole. You know, and you could say this. The only player that is, you can say, could be slightly hard done by is Garnacho, because...
Well, surely Antony is the one, isn't he? You go to Real Betis, you light things up in La Liga for
But Amorim doesn't like him. There's no place in the team for him. There's no place in his formation for him as well.
Right.
So that's why Amorim doesn't want... And they've probably had a row over that. And Amorim probably said to him at some point, I don't really fancy you as a player. I don't like your attitude. I don't... It's very difficult then to say, come back and play for me. You can't do it.
Yeah, this is like, we put them all together, but there are different stories within these 5 players.
Yeah.
And if you look at someone like Antony, who really was excellent for Betis when he went to play in La Liga, why is he not given another chance, or is it just that's it?
Did you see him in the Conference League final against Chelsea? That was the answer that Man United got to know. He wasn't good enough against a Premier League defence. He did well in Spain against, I'd say, defences that aren't as strong as the Premier League. He lit it up. But I don't think Betis have got the money to pay for him. They could pay his wages, but they couldn't pay the fee. Right. So I think, but Antony rehabilitated his reputation enough last year to get a club in La Liga again. It'll be a loan. A lot of these players aren't going to be sold. There's no way they can find people to take these permanently, apart from maybe Rashford. Because I know it sounds ridiculous, but United's issue there is paying him up. He's got 3 years left on a £325,000 a week contract. That's what, £45 million
So where's he going to go, Bayern or Barca?
I imagine that Barcelona is an option because they failed to get Nico Williams over the line. They need cover for Rafinha and Lamine Yamal.
Yeah.
Rashford fancies the move. It's the one club that Marcus Rashford might say to United, do you know what, I'll take a pay cut to go so we can sort it out that way. So it's the perfect move for Rashford, it's the perfect move for United.
Do you think Barcelona are really interested in him, or is it Marcus Rashford's agent trying to push it towards Barcelona?
That was my initial suspicion, but there is interest in Marcus Rashford. They probably see they could pick him up a little bit cheaply. He's got a pedigree that has kind of been buried under whatever for the last 2 years, but he's still a player that might use that, challenge to become the player he was again. But I think he's 27 later.
If somebody goes off the boil,
yeah.
But it's his attitude that you see on the field, where he looks as though he's not interested and almost throws the towel in.
And also,
you can't have that. If anybody watching that would say, we can't have him at our club, that is disgraceful behaviour.
Yeah, and also he went to Villa for 6 months, and people saying he did great at Villa. He scored 4 goals, and 2 were against Preston North End. He didn't do that well.
Oh, negative.
But true. It's just a reality, isn't it? Jadon Sancho, Juventus are keen on Sancho. Again, I'm surprised at, but he'll do well to find a club because he's had a terrible 2 or 3 years, sure. Sancho. Antony, you're right. Garnacho, somebody will pick Garnacho because he's got potential, he's young, he's still, what was Cristiano Ronaldo at that age? He was inconsistent. Now, he's not Ronaldo, but he could be a player that would be effective. And he's the one.
Does he not like Garnacho because he doesn't fit the system that Amorim plays? So there's no place for him in the system.
There's that, and I think he's frustrated by Garnacho's judgment. In the final third, his judgment is terrible. He always makes the wrong decision. I think he's tried to coach him. I think he's tried to work with him, but I don't think he's seen him develop as he wanted him to. Maybe he's been a little bit impatient there, but obviously there's been a couple of incidents. The one with the Marcus Rashford Aston Villa shirt the other week on Instagram, which is a bit naive, walking around with an Aston Villa top on. So I think Garnacho is probably... United will see that as an opportunity to get some good money in because he's a homegrown player. They can use it all for PSR evaluations as pure profit. But he's not got a future under Amorim.
So if we have to wait till the end of August for these players to leave, what's going to happen in the meantime with players coming in?
Well, I mean, United hope they're not going to wait till the end of August, but I think reality is that clubs will not want to dive into these players now. They're still confident of getting Mbeumo over the line.
Right.
Brentford are holding out for a bit more. There's not a big gap between the valuations now. It's probably up to £5 million, but Brentford are holding out for that. They need to get a midfielder in. We've seen today that Monaco are keen on Andre Onana, which I think would be great news for Man United.
30 million, was it for Onana?
That's what United want,
wow.
Which I think they'll do well to get.
Yeah.
But they like to look at Emi Martinez. So they've got options, but they do need players to go out now. But as we said, those 5 players are going to be very hard to shift. So they need to start making some moves. But they're not the only club in the Premier League, to be honest. I'll be positive here. A lot of clubs, it's not just United.
We need some sort of lightning.
Yeah.
There's a lot of clubs that are terrible.
Yeah, a lot of clubs have made slow moves. So now it will get active because teams are back in pre-season training. Coaches will put pressure on the directors, sporting directors, like we've got to get players in, got to get players out now.